Once there was a kind, childless old couple. They wished they had a child, even a tiny one. One day, a fairy came by the window and heard the couple talking about wanting a child. She decided to grant their wish. 9 months and 10 days later, the old woman gave birth to a very small baby. They decided to name him Tiny. As time went on, Tiny did not grow. He stayed the same size as he had when he was born. Every day, Tiny rode on his father's shoulders when the father did gardening. Also, Tiny enjoyed watching his mother cooking in the kitchen. One day, Tiny saw that other boys of his age were going out into the world to find work. He said to his parents, "I want to find a job so that I can help to build you a new house." Tiny's parents were concerned, but decided to let him go. His father said, "Son, you can use this bowl and this set of chopsticks as a boat to reach the city." Tiny's mother said, "Here is a needle you can use to protect yourself." Tiny set off on his boat and rowed to the city. Tiny came to a palace. At the gate of the palace, Tiny asked a guard for a job, but the guard said, "You are too small to do anything." Tiny did not give up. He jumped over the guard's foot and ran into the palace. Tiny came towards a baker and asked for a job, but the baker said, "You are too small to work here. Let's find the king. He may give you a job." Tiny thanked her and looked for the king. Tiny finally found the king. He said, "Your Majesty, I know that I am small, but I want to get a job so I can help my parents build a new house." The king thought for a while and said, "There is one thing you can do. I need someone to help take care of my daughter, the princess. But I must warn you, she is very stubborn." When the princess saw Tiny, she laughed and said, "What could you do for me? You are the smallest person I have ever seen." One day, while the princess and Tiny was walking in the forest, a robber came and kidnapped the princess. Tiny yelled, "Stop! Don't you dare take her from me!" Tiny quickly climbed up the robber. Then he stuck the needle that his mother gave him into the robber's tongue. The robber yelled and ran away. The princess was grateful and said, "Thank you, Tiny. I will ask my father to reward you." The princess saw the hammer that the robber left. It looked like it might be valuable, so she wanted to take it back to the castle. So she said to Tiny, "I wish you could carry the hammer back to the castle." As soon as Tiny touched the hammer, in a puff of smoke, he became a tall, handsome man. It turned out the hammer the robber left was magic, but the robber did not know. The princess fell in love with Tiny and asked the king to let them marry. The king gladly agreed and arranged for the wedding. After the wedding, they went back to Tiny's home, where they lived happily ever after.